You know how I've been saying there's nothing more important to me than us freeing you from Bareth's bonds? Well, I meant that. I did.
Edir's breath lingers in his chest and his mouth hangs ajar, throwing his statement into immediate doubt.
But there's this other thing I need to see about. On the way, like. I was gonna tell you.
And a journey full of obstacles, what's one more?
I don't see it like an obstacle. Not unless she's mad. She might be mad.
You might be mad.
This woman, well, love's not the right word. But she was something to me once, back in Gilded Vale. When I was mayor of Deerford, I had this vision of what I wanted it to look like. It was gonna be what Gilded Vale was, before the legacy.
For the legacy.
And in some ways it got there. I was proud of that. But it didn't feel like I thought it would. Come to realize there was someone I needed to show it to. Ilava. She'd have been about the last person left in Deerwood who'd have seen what I made and understood. Last I saw her, she was going to New Hayamar. Went looking for her there, only to find that she'd left a long time ago. Anyway, I don't expect you to understand, but I gotta know she ended up all right.
Sounds like she ended up with a son.
Yeah, that's something. Coming out of Deerwood during that time. When I knew her, she had another little boy, just a baby. But the legacy deprived him of a proper life.
Well, I'll put the souls back, so...
I never found out what happened to him. But with the Hollowborn, you didn't have to ask. Guess he got a brother, though.
Edir falls quiet, blinking several times before noting your continued presence. You sure you want to know where this leads?
No, but I don't see a way to let this go. Least a way's not now. Last time I saw Ilava, we got friendly. Now she's got a son.
Edir shrugs and rigid. Smiles at least half once. Well, let's get moving then. Mark Van Bilge. You find a man of middle years inspecting a metal tool unlike any you've seen. He has several similar strange items on his belt, all quite clean and orderly. They look like tools one might use to pull a tooth or a shoe a horse, but much more delicate. He wears pristine cream-coloured robes. The muzzle of an Arpacus is visible just over his shoulder, his eyes brightening when you notice it. The man's robes shimmer with a faint trace of arcane energy. Glimpses stitched into the helms and sleeves seem to be source of the effect.
Good day, traveler. I see you've taken an eye to my instruments. If you've any interest in the medical sciences, you need only ask.
Here,
Well then, questions?
here, you.
I'm a researcher in the medical sciences. And before you ask, no, I don't mean animancy. Neither do I mean magic, nor, gods forbid, necromancy. Medicine. Study of the kith body, its inner workings and such. I've misgivings about magic use. It's useful, I'll grant you that. But it's a crutch. Stunts our scientific development, you understand. Makes me a bit unpopular, as you can no doubt imagine. Which is why I've got this arquebus here.
Percepticus complex. Delightful. What do you mean by unpopular?
A patient of mine died under questionable circumstances. One morning they were fine, and the next they were dead. Someone is trying to discredit my work, I just know it. But they won't succeed. I came here to the archipelago to evade my rival's attempts at sabotage. And there certainly is quite a lot of work in the Deadfire, I must tell you. I'm a researcher in the medical sciences. And before you ask, no, I've misgivings about magic. I came here to the archipelago to evade
Can
my
you teach me what
rival's
you've
attempts
learned
at
in your
sabotage.
research?
I've told you of my troubles. I suppose it's the least I can do. Settle in now. I've got a lecture prepared for just this occasion. Of course, it will cost you 3,000. Should you change your mind, you'll find me here.
A marionette priest has the build of a boulder. His thickest frame stretches his fine robes at the seams. He regards you with a steady calm gaze, nodding and greeting.
Be welcome. We gather to honor the goddess, for we must earn the strength to endure the darkest of life's battles.
Margaret and I aren't on the best of terms.
Do you believe so? It is not in might alone that Margaret holds influence. There is purpose, conviction, achievement. You may honor her in many ways.
This is your temple.
Akira, rain and wind is a better teacher than any priest. A fighter accustomed to comfort earns only bruises. Each obstacle is a challenge we must answer. These are whetstones that sharpen us into fine blades.
I didn't expect to see so many foreigners at the temples.
It is an opportunity to learn. What good is a fighter who knows how to defend against a single enemy? If we must one day fight one another, such is Margran's will.
Which way to the palace? The priest blinks. His smile is warm, but there is little amusement in it.
Follow the path as it climbs the mountain, all the way to the Serpent's Crown. You will see it.
You will see it. See it. Healing. Healing aroma. Priest regards your approach with curiosity. He coughs into a sleeve stained with a splatter of silvery flakes.
Come closer to the altar. Come inside. The temple welcomes all to worship, most especially you.
Me? The priest peers knowingly at the center of your chest, lips curving an ardent smile. Hands trembling, he touches a length of chain around his neck.
I ask only for no talking. Not until we pay our respects to Berith, to Rikuhu. Let us pray.
Cross your arms over your chest and watch.
Deity of life and death, the endless devourer who encompasses all existence, hear this prayer, this voice chiming. I beseech you, Kohopa and Tangaloa, to ready this shell for sucking. Purify my soul in preparation for the coming of the next cycle. Digest all of my devotion. Swallow my sorrows, even the smallest swell, so I can be spit on the morrow. And Rikuhu, Berath, my god and goddess both, the eels that churn in ceaseless cycle, the new and the next, and...
From life to death to life again, blessed be an end. Yeah, he accepts your ending to the invocation. He presses his hands over the center of his chest, touching the item tucked beneath his shirt. Then raising his head, he cranks a frail smile.
All right. I will address your inquiries best as I can. So ask.
Yeah. What was that about preparing your soul for shuckling?
End of the turn. I'm nearing it. Been working hard, preparing for weeks. You know, to die. But first, I've got to leave guidance for my apprentice, the next in the cycle. Chosen to lead.
Moves a hand towards the stone tombs piled across the floor.
Been wasting away for months. Can't say it's been easy, dying so soon. I thought about stopping a few times.
Why would you want to die soon?
Maybe you can see. I'm no death godlike. Bereth bestowed not one in my generation with a chime. Not the next, neither. A flawed messenger like me can't open the crypts. So my best chance is to die.
Tell me about the writing on the tombs.
Liturgies. Instructions for ritual preparations. When and how. Sermons. Some histories, too.
His fingers trail carefully across the stone, as craggy as his skin.
All of this, it's our knowledge has gleaned through centuries of service. Now, I've got to leave it all behind for the next disciple.
This is Outtro. What else can this temple boast?
Under the temple, carved in the mountain's caverns, lies an extraordinary maze of catacombs.
So I've seen, and
So
my
I've
word,
read.
I don't want to go there again.
They're the hanging sepulchres, burial place for ancient Wana chieftains. The bodies are protected by Bereth's best, roaming, always. Plus, the ways sealed by the deity itself.
Oh, it's not. I got into another way. His words catch his throat as he curves forward in a spine-racking fit, hacking until his flush face. Fumbling a goat-skinned flask to his lip, he drinks until muddled silver liquid dribbles over his slicks, his chin. Wow, he's drinking silver. Okay.
Better.
He wheezes, wiping a palm over his chin.
The timing's getting tighter. And there is one thing before the end. Something only one touched by Bereth can do.
Ever and I have history.
I know you do.
Oh, well, he tugs a chain about his neck, oh.
My eels, my infinity coil keeps rattling. Pendants resonating with your chime.
Oh, is that right? The priest presses the palm of his hand to the front of his chest. He stares, scrutinizing your face. He shakes his head, disappointed.
The coil resonates, but it's weak. You could unseal the way, but you'd die inside, I think. My chance would be lost then. Lost with your remains. Not just anyone can escape the hanging sepulchres. Alive.
Stare him down, yeah. As the silence stretches, Kasu sighs wearily. He wavers on his feet. Wavers on his feet. He releases his grip on the pendant with a feeble nod.
I'd best not let this chance pass. There's a sacred text. The eulogy to Isaiah. It's been buried in the catacombs beneath the temple for centuries, next to his champions. I need it. Of course, the tombs, they only open to the dead, or those bearing Bereth's chime.
I'll get the eulogy for you if you let me into the hanging sepulchres.
I prayed for decades, night to day and night again. Now, here
I'm just doing it for the leveling, folks.
just in time. Means Bereth sent you to see to my success.
Oh, is that right? The priest bobs his head. From beneath his shirt, he untucks a stone-carved circlet with the image of an eel. The pendant vibrates on the length of his chain. Thumbling harder, the closer he holds it to you.
You're my best chance. Or only, maybe. Take the coil. It'll open the crypts. Bring me Isaiah's eulogy, and I'll teach you all I know of Bereth's arcana.
I have some questions about Ysera and the Catarooms.
I'll tell you what I can.
What's the story?
He's no Wana, nor a death godlike neither, but he was a high priest of Bereth. His hair was a Ydwin, a hunter, chasing the undead 200 years ago. Read somewhere, one tome, he sailed to the Deadfire for a weapon, abhorrent to Berath, said the blade held a power most fearful.
Most fearful. The priest's face flushes with fervency. His voice raises in volume as he speaks until his breath catches, and he doubles over into a hacking fit.
Isair fought hard for it, won the blade, but suffered grievous wounds. Berath kept him alive till he could make it to the temple's catacombs. His champions were the ones who wrote his eulogy. Later, they were buried in the sepulchres too.
How do I enter the catacombs onto the temple? Oh, you have that shield
Gotta
thing.
go outside, on the lower walkway. Doors sealed up tight, though. Priests before me, all death godlikes, could open it. Door requires a coil, resonating with Berath's chime. But I haven't met a death godlike in my time.
I'd like to know more about the hanging sepulchres. Sepulchres. I can't pronounce that.
They're from the long-forgotten time, when there was only Juana living in the mountain. They got carved in even before the temple sprung up. Before there was Neketaka or a queen. They're well guarded, because
Oh,
not
yeah.
all of Berath's
I know about
dead
that.
like to rest in their graves.
Oh, it's just skeletons. That'll be easy.
All right. I will address your inquiries best as I can. So ask.
Yeah, you mentioned something about the undead.
The dead, with their souls, they roam still. The ones who were chosen by Berath. Not everyone's born so blessed. Sometimes, instead, you've got to die for it. The same. Your word, Berath. Our word, Rikuhu. We worship the twin deal. The cyclic connection of the overworld and the underworld.
Life and death.
And death. Life is Kahopa, and Tangaloa is death. Born starving, they devoured all living things, swelling larger each. When they'd swallowed all of existence, they tried to eat each other next. Now all things pass through their entrails. The end of one enters the mouth of the next, from the underworld to the overworld and back. Again and again.
That sounds like a party, that one, eh? Okay. So now we know how to get into this place. What? An armoured Juana turns and looks you up and down. She holds this motionless pose across a long and contemplative silence. Finally, she draws out a single pyre and balances the coin on her knuckle.
Tell me, are you someone who walks the path that coin lays out before you?
She arcs her fingers in a wave, causing the coin to flip from one knuckle to the next. She seems entrapped and raptured by the motion. What?
Transmuting actions into payment is the alchemy that orders our world. All things turn on the axis of a coin bond.
Well, okay. She touches her brow with her free hand as she says the words. Her coin continues its winding journey uninterrupted.
I pay bounties so that death can bring order to life. Would you help me continue the cycle?
Bite your hand. What bounties do we got available?
If you would forge a coin bond, I know of people on these islands who must die. Their fate is already decided. The coin wishes only to collect. Dugra the Ascetic is wanted for crimes against his monastic order. His people have made a coin bond for his death.
Holds a pyre and lovingly inspects its edge, running her index finger along the curve.
The Orlan wanders the wilderness on the island of Crookspur, northwest of Neketaka.
I have some questions.
Speak freely, I say.
Do you have any other hobbies?
I am a paladin of the Gold-Packed Order. Since taking my oath, I have never been absent of work and duty for longer than an afternoon.
Alright, so you work for coin, but you don't do the contract. She stands rigid and raises a fist over her heart, but something in her manner softens.
I also enjoy knitting on occasion.
Lovely. Lovely. Oh, okay. Lovely.
Burned. Well, that won't do it all.
Won't do it all. Tell them not to touch the machine. Ydwin. A steady white-haired elf frowns down at a table covered in coiled copper wires and glimmering shards of adra. Her gloved hands smooth her well-tailored Valerian coat as she murmurs under her breath. Apparently absorbed in her work, the Animaster doesn't acknowledge your presence. Excuse me? The woman spins on you, blinking rapidly behind a pair of brass-rimmed spectacles. Her bright carmine eyes and paper-white skin mark her as one of Glenfallen.
Hello, my apologies. I didn't see you there.
Her daring bears a clear, crisp, but difficult to place accent. The pale elf examines you warily. Unease cleared and set of her shoulders. You do you?
I, like the other scholars here, am engaged in the study of the soul sciences. Was there something you needed, or may I return to my studies?
Her thin lips settle in a crooked smile. You plunge yourself.
I had a mishap with my machinery, but all is well now. The details are unimportant.
Oh, okay.
I wish only to return to my studies. In any case, why are you here?
Any interest in getting out of this tower for some field study? He blinks at your offer, then puts a finger to her lips, clearly considering her next words.
I think, perhaps, that I would be grateful for the opportunity.
Sure, why not? You're welcome to come along. I have no idea who she is, but alright.
Truly?
She blinks, her mouth hanging half open.
Whoa, you sure about that?
Thaklat, traveler. I am grateful.
She clasps her hands in hers, pumps it quickly, and releases. After a quick pat down of the fairy's pocket sewn into her coat, Yoda nods sharply and rests a hand on the hilt of her rapier.
I have all that I need. You may depart at your leisure.
Her lips curl into a coy little smile, and she says no more. That was easy. Alright. Oh. Definitely go for a rogue on this one.
Candles and bombs.
Captain.
Looks up from a book. Her carmine eyes tightening on you.
Or should I call you the Watcher of Cadnua? I confess that title.
I take
Something
it you
of a
heard
mouthful.
something of me.
This and that. Your involvement in Duke Avar's hearings on animancy and the aftermath brought you to the attention of animancers across the Reach.
You just call me Tom.
How very informal of you. I think I would prefer something a bit more decorous. Captain it is, then.
Captain it is then. Her chin raises slightly as she peers through her spectacles.
When you took me aboard, you neglected to mention that you were in pursuit of a rampaging deity.
I could always leave you back in Nikitaka. I'm sorry, I should have told you what was going on.
I appreciate the apology, but it's unnecessary. The Blue Colossus may be one of the defining events of the age. I count myself fortunate to bear witness to your investigation. Speaking of, let us return to it, yeah?
Ah, she bows slightly as her at the waist and formal.
Ado, Captain. Do you require my expertise?
I wanted to ask you about your work on Animancer.
My studies? I cannot promise a dissertation, but I'll happily discourse upon the broader strokes.
And what is your specific area of study?
You haven't read my work then?
Of course not.
As an apprentice, I focused on, and then helped discredit, the phrenological approach. At the time, it seemed more difficult than I thought it should be.
I think.
Some of my colleagues had a vested interest in a model of the world that included an inherent hierarchy of kith. That some kith made more worthy receptacles for souls than others, based on the shape of their brow or the length of their ears, was apparently an idea too tantalizing to abandon. Afterwards, my interest turned to the theoretical, before shifting a few decades later to the study of parapsychological inertia.
As if people thinking the same over and over.
Close. Parapsychological inertia. The tendency for some souls to gravitate towards familiar locales or engage in behaviors exhibited from past lives. From there, I moved on to work in metamortality, the scientific study of souls over lifetimes and the cycle of reincarnation. Which brings us to the present.
And what do you hope to do with what you've learned?
You set the sled before the dogs.
Uh-oh.
Before making decisions regarding what should be done, we must first understand what is. Anything else is a dream in the dark.
Okay, so what do you hope to learn from your studies?
The truth, of course.
Fact.
I'm sorry that I have no simple answer for you.
Quite alright.
Embarking on inquiry with an agenda. That is how mistakes get made.
So you're entirely without bias.
Not at all. But I admit them.
So any idea how Aethys is moving the statue across the sea? He laughs, a fat palm covering her open mouth.
I could theorize, but given how little I've observed of him, it would be irresponsible of me to do so. It must require incredible energy, though. Staggering amounts of soul essence. And can Audra truly be so flexible? Why does he not crumble?
She shakes her head and shrugs.
Whatever he is, however he accomplishes it, perhaps we can discover together, if the discovering doesn't kill us.
Okay, what's so important about Luminous Adra?
That depends on who you ask. Generally, Audra conducts soul energy. Luminous Audra also stores it, however. Is it simply a worse conductor getting clogged by essence? Or is this indicative of a specialized function?
No idea.
Unfortunately, greed stymies inquiry. Hati and the Republics grind every ounce they find down into bath salts.
Alright. All for now, I guess.
Of course, Captain.
Oh, Capitan.
Let's get a move on.
Get a move on, I like this guy.
Ado, Captain. Do you require my expertise?
Hey, how'd you end up in the Valerian Republics?
It was neither so random nor so strange a thing as your question would suggest. In a word, animancy. The Republics take the most progressive attitude towards the subject, and thus they attract its foremost scholars, among whom I count myself.
Did you enjoy the Republics?
Very much so. though I imagine you capable of finding someone much better suited to telling you of them. I spent most of my time in laboratories and libraries.
Tell me about the laboratories.
In a way, your ship reminds me of them. A dozen kith from every corner of Eora, working towards a common goal, while your crew pursues Aethys across the sea. Ours pursue the future, each chasing our own dawn.
Her nose winkles slightly. Tell me about the libraries.
I admit bias, but they are very likely the grandest in the world.
A faint grin lights her wan features.
Imagine great domes rising above your head, shelves along each wall stacked high with tomes, as if the building itself were built of bound pages.
Sounds like heaven to me, by the way.
They were the true treasure of the Republics. The collected histories, dramas, and comedies of Old Valia. The most advanced arcane theories of Adir. The most ancient liturgical texts of Anguith. And the most advanced treatises on animancy.
Anything interests you besides studying?
Many things. A strong dark tea, a comic play, the song of a whale, the soft resistance of paper to quill or fabric to needle. Discovering what's just over the horizon.
Oh, you'll love the sea.
There exists things in this world beautiful and wondrous both. One only needs leave the land to find them. Speaking of, let us see what the horizon holds, yeah?
Yeah.
Greetings again, Captain. Do you require my expertise?
What do you make of a journey?
I admit to excitement, curiosity. I cherish the opportunity to explore, to test my wits against ancient ruins and vicious wildlife. Most ships discourage such avocations.
Okay.